Hey everybody, it's Seth Jones, editor-in-chief of Golfdom magazine. Today I'm being joined by senior editor Abby Hart. We thought it'd be fun to just talk about the magazine that came out. This is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Abby, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jones?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's a Friday, so I appreciate you taking some time before we get to the weekend. The new issue, State of the Industry Report, the December issue is on our desk. Feeling pretty good about it. Abby, let's go through it and talk about it some.
Sounds good.
First up, in this issue, we did something different with my column.
Yeah, since this was such a special issue for you and your anniversary, how do you like how we handled the 19th hole interview?
I thought it was cool, and it's funny because I mean I liked it. I liked seeing it, but then I realized that I'm just like all of my readers, and my first reaction was I didn't really love my photo of myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such something I hear from people all. Oh, can I get a better picture of me? And it's like, and I'm like, that's what I was thinking about that, but it's I can't help it. I'm just an old man now, and that's the way I look. So, but it was cool, and I was happy to get a chance to put the photo of me and Samuel L. Jackson in the magazine. That's kind of fun. But yeah, I thought it was a nice quick read and kind of something different to do and to celebrate the 10 years. So thanks for doing that. Let's move on to starter. I really thought we had a nice news section of the magazine this issue. Got stories about Foley Company acquiring GT Air Inject, Quali Pro promotes Alan Fulcher, Jim Nance, Old Tom Morris Award. You attended the Green Start Academy. And you did a report for us. How was Green Start Academy this year?
It was great. It was my first time going to Green Start Academy. I think I'm the only editor that hasn't been. So of course it would happen during the year of COVID. So rather than traveling, I got to experience it from my kitchen counter. But it was fantastic. I got a chance to actually speak with a few of the attendees. Everyone was great. I attended a session with our columnist Carlos Orea. It was fantastic. He talked a lot about leading a multicultural crew. Carol Rao, who's been fantastic as far as telling superintendents and giving them advice on how to further their careers in the golf industry. So I really learned a lot during Green Start this year.
Good. So we'll get you down there in person now that you've done the virtual one. When things get when things get to normal, we'll have to get you to the in-person one. They've got a fun little 9-hole course there on the property where you can do some foot golf and hit a couple of wedge shots and stuff like that. And there's a few conveniently stashed coolers around the course. It's a fun time.
Sounds good. Looking forward to attending in person one day.
Good. And I'll tell you something that I thought that I liked about this section, just for the sake of anyone who might actually watch this, with the Air 2 G2 being acquired by Foley. I like it that we actually had a photo of Glenn Black, who invented the Air 2 G2 at the Golfdom Summit. And, we've known that company for a long time, and we've done some demos with them and whatnot. I think it's really interesting to see that Foley has now, invested into that company, and it's, I'll be excited to see what happens there. So I thought that was a fun story to have as a leadoff. And then also, Quali Pro promoting Alan Fulcher. He's an old friend of mine. I've had the good fortune to be able to hang out with him on multiple occasions over the years, and that's a really good promotion for them. And I'm excited to see how Alan does in that new position. So yeah, it was a good news section this month. Good news.
That's great. What do you think of Jim Nance as a choice for the Old Tom Morris Award?
I love it. I think it's exciting. I'm sad that it's going to be a virtual conference because I would love to go. Jim Nance is so beloved and so famous for any sports fan, and I do think, obviously with his record with golf and what he's done for the game, and I think that's a home run. That's a really cool person, cool voice of the sport to honor. And I don't think I've been around Nance a few times, but I've never really had a chance to meet him, I don't think. But my one Jim Nance encounter that was just so great was I was at U.S. Open 2019 Pebble Beach, and they had this huge pavilion that they built that you could walk into, going through security, get your ticket, and then as you're going down, and then you get this great view, and then you can just look out into the ocean and see the course down below you. And as I'm walking down, I see Jim Nance and another guy are walking up towards me. And I didn't, I probably wasn't going to say anything, but as they got closer, I could kind of catch the conversation, and from what I could gather, it was Jim Nance and his son was getting scolded for like getting a parking ticket or something like that. So it was like in the perfect, you know, mellow Jim Nance voice. He's like, "So you knew it was a no parking zone, but yet you still parked there," you know? And it's like, and like they're going by, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's something that you don't really get every day to hear." The, you know, he's such a cool guy, and he does all these great sports moments, but he's also a dad, you know, when he's not on camera. So I thought that was pretty funny. So flipping beyond my story to our State of the Industry report, sponsored by our friends at New Farm. We had it tipped in, and we had a bunch of people that we talked to. You know, this was a pretty robust section of the magazine with a lot of. We talked to chapter presidents from around the nation. Abby, who do you remember off the top of your head who you talked to? Anything stand out in your mind of putting that section together?
Yeah, so I spoke with Tim Davis, who's president of the Rocky Mountain Golf Course Superintendents Association. So yeah, I mean, he was dealing with a lot of drought conditions over the year. I mean, it was kind of similar among all the superintendents that I spoke with. There was a lot of uncertainty in the beginning, but and actually his course was shut down. Legacy Ridge Golf Club in Westminster, Colorado. He was shut down for 2 months. So, you know, he was dealing with a lot of uncertainty in the beginning, but once he got back to the course, you know, it was pretty much gangbusters and it was super busy. And he really touts the leadership of the Rocky Mountain GCSA for communicating really well with the members in Colorado and making sure that everyone had the information that they needed and the support they needed. I also spoke with Ryan Sumritz of the Western Washington GCSA, and basically he had great weather in April, and he was dealing with basically a really busy golf season as well. But yeah, and he actually had a perfectly fine season with labor. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a pretty interesting group of conversations that I had with chapter presidents. Were there any that stood out to you, Seth?
Yeah, you know, I looking back through here, I spoke with Peter Rapocchio, GCSA of New England president, and I also got Tom Fisher who's the Greater Pittsburgh GCSA president. He's also either VP or president of the Pennsylvania Turfgrass Council, I think. And both guys were really good. And I actually got a couple more that we posted online only because we ran out of real estate. But yeah, everyone for me had pretty similar stories, similar takes on the year from around the country. And I thought that was interesting that didn't really matter geography wise where these guys were. They had similar things with the pandemic and with the onslaught of more interest in golf this year and single rider golf carts and things like that, you know. So it was an interesting thing to put together because it seemed like every guy you talked to that they might be at a different type of facility, different geographic location, but we're walking similar experiences from guy to guy. So yeah, I was real happy with the way it turned out. And by the way, what Tim said about the Rocky Mountain, that is a really great chapter. That's one of the very best chapters, and they put on a great show, and they're really well organized. And Tim's one of my favorite superintendents in the industry. We're the same age, grew up in the same area, actually even went to the same college bars at the same time. He's a big music guy, and we were comparing notes, and there's a place called the Bottleneck in Lawrence, Kansas. And we went to some of the same shows back then. So who knows, we probably moshed into each other at one point back in our college days, you know. But I was happy to see Tim's face in the magazine too. So thanks for getting him. But and again, thanks to New Farm for obviously sponsoring that package again. So that was about last page, 19th hole, Tom Fisher.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
How did you choose this month's 19th hole interview?
So used to be I would do it when I was traveling. I would just if I was at an industry event and meet an interesting person, that's how I would get my sources. So now I'm kind of just throwing out cold calls basically because I haven't been traveling much in 2020. And so I interviewed Tom for the State of the Industry report. And so while we were talking on that, I could just tell he was super thoughtful and had some interesting things to say. And I thought, this is just from the phone call, that first phone call. We've never met in person, and so just from that phone call, I thought that he'd probably be a pretty good interview for 19th hole, and he came through. It was a good interview. I'll even tell you that poor guy, the first two photos he sent in, we shot down. We're like, because the lighting was weird, and so I had to make him take that, and then the photo we turned in was great, just a beautiful shot in the morning with his dog. So like they say in the A-Team, I love it when a plan comes together. That was one where I had to ask him for a favor, and he came through for me, and that was fun. So nice way to finish the issue.
That's awesome. And let that be a lesson to all our superintendents that we haven't featured in 19th hole. Please be ready with photography just in case Seth Jones comes calling.
That's right. There's like a catch. It's like, oh yeah, I'd love to be featured on that page. That sounds great. And it's like, okay, there's a catch. I'm very difficult to work with when it comes to approving the photos. So, and I get it. Like I wouldn't have even approved of my own photo at the 19th hole. Going back to that story, it was like I should have given that advice to myself and went out and got better sunlight and a better backdrop. But it's okay. I'll do it again in 10 years, and I'll look even worse. So that was the issue, the December issue. Thank you for sticking with us. And also thank you to our team in Cleveland, everybody who helped us create this magazine. And of course, thank you to our advertisers in the magazine. Without our advertisers, we don't have a magazine. And we're even going to rip off the list real quick of the advertisers who are featured in the issue. So thank you to Smithco, Target Specialty Products, Sam Turf Fuel, Hunter, Pond Hawk, Quali Pro, Dryject, Standard Golf, Turfco, the Plant Food Company, and SipCam Agro.
We also want to thank Kafka Granite, PBI Gordon, Frost Inc., Bunker Dry, and a special shout out to New Farm, who sponsored our State of the Industry once again.
Well, Abby, great catching up with you. Thanks for your hard work on the issue, and I'll catch up with you later, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Jones, and thanks for watching, everybody.